Everyone, Stephen Young back in. So today I want to talk to you about the most profitable month I ever had. I generated over $600,000 in profit from 6 sales. As I owned the properties, and what I did was doing flipping real estate back then. Well, I'm still doing. That's what I do most days, day in and day out. But back then I was doing something called a signing or assignments. Some of the industry professionals call it wholesaling, and effectively what I was doing, I was buying properties, putting them under contract, finding a buyer who wanted to buy it, and I would sell them the contract. And how I became proficient at it was, this is like early stages of sort of the Toronto's explosive condominium growth. I got into the business about 16 years ago. The Toronto condo market really started taking off about 20 years ago. So I was really in the early phases of this just explosive growth, the explosive growth all over Toronto. We're one of the leading cities still to this day of condominium building and sales. I still think we rank number 1 in the world for condo sales. But so I was lucky enough to get into it early. I recognized that there was a big demand for it. I recognized that the valuation of Toronto real estate, especially the condo market downtown, it was underbuilt, it was undersupplied, it was underpriced. Like there was a lot of things wrong with it. So I knew there was big potential moving forward with it. Obviously I didn't have a crystal ball, but things really did work out. And I was in a good position because I wanted to focus on investors and investing, and I didn't know what I was doing, so I was super eager to learn everything. And my journey started when I was just out of my football career. I played professional football for a few years, and I got into it mainly just to sort of make money. That was the main reason for it. I think most people who do get into real estate is for money making. It's great for anybody. It's probably the only vehicle that I know of anyways that you can get into with very little money and make a lot of money really quickly with very little knowledge. Like I don't know what else you can do. Like stock markets, you seem to have a very, the most successful people are very knowledgeable about the businesses they're in, the business that they invest in. They spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week studying these things. They have huge teams. To be a successful stock broker or stock investor, it's very challenging. It's money intensive and time intensive. But with real estate, I didn't find that. I obviously now, as I get into larger and bigger scale projects, it's a little bit different. But anybody can really start out in it, and that was sort of my luck because I didn't have any money. So as I started in 26, I had no money, but I bought one property. I sold it after a year. I bought 3 more from there. After that year, I bought 6, and from there I bought even more than that. But one of my most profitable months, I'll never forget it. I was doing a signing. So what I was doing, there were sellers wanting to sell their properties, and they wanted to sell them off market. They bought pre-construction, which means they bought it before the building was being constructed. And as it came to close to closing, they said, I just want to unload the property. So I would buy the property from them, put it under contract, and you couldn't, because it was pre-construction, you couldn't actually just take possession instantly. So there was a gap between when you can get it and when you could move into it. It's called the interim occupancy period here in Toronto. And so I'd be buying these properties. I'd put it under contract saying I'll close it in 6 months or 7 months whenever the building is completed. And then in the meantime, I would be shopping that contract around to other purchasers saying, if you want to buy this investment property, we can sell it to you before it goes to market or before it comes to completion. And so there's a big demand for it because back then there wasn't many new buildings in the city, especially on the core. Like this was down on Bay Street and like right next to the University of Toronto. And what was happening was I had so much demand from buyers. I was selling a lot of products to them, but I realized I can sell them anything. Didn't matter if it was mine or if someone else's. They didn't care whose it was. They just wanted the product. So one of my early lessons was that I bought. I was buying these products up, and my most profitable month, I put 6 properties under contract and sold them within 30 days. Each property netted me $100,000. It was just over $600,000 of profit in 1 month, and I put no money down on any of these things. I never closed them. I never needed mortgages, and at the time, I had no idea what I was doing. I had literally. I knew the contracts well. I knew how to find the sellers. I knew how to find the buyers. I knew how to put them together, and I knew the contract really well. So much, in fact, that I was invited by our local real estate board to create paperwork for the industry, and there was me, there was 2 other brokers, and I think there was 3 lawyers on the team there's 6 of us, I think it was 6 or 7 of us, came together and we formed the paperwork that is now currently used to stay all across the country. And so I was really proud of that moment. I was there, I was invited because I did so much of it. Now back then, we used to have to deal with lawyers. There was no structured paperwork, there's no structured way to sell these assignments. And so we had to figure it out, and it was really difficult because each sale would take it would take weeks of trying to figure out just the paperwork between lawyers and going back and forth, and the sellers didn't know what it was, the buyers didn't know what they were assigning. So I was a good medium for a lot of people. That's why I did so well early on with this. Now there's, thousands of people know about it now. It's no secret, and it's really easy. Obviously, that we prepared the paperwork, so it's really just fill in the blanks. Like anybody can do it now. But back then, every lawyer had their own way of doing it. So every negotiation was very difficult. I had so many deals fall apart because the lawyers didn't understand it. The buyers were scared. They didn't know what they were buying. But effectively, when it comes to wholesaling, which is sort of the new age term of what it is, wholesaling and assigning, and effectively real estate sales is no different. You're the medium, or you're the go-between between a seller and a buyer, and effectively all you're doing is you're just making a profit on the middle of that transaction. So if you're a realtor, you're making a commission. If you're a wholesaler, you make relatively what the commission would be. It's about the same, but 2 or 3% of that transition. But me, I was buying them for myself, and what I was doing, I was taking the whole profit. So I was taking much more than the commission, because I would buy it for $400 and sell for $500, and the people were happy to buy for $500 because the thing was worth $550 or higher. So I was selling it under market, but I wanted to sell it under market because I wanted that buyer to feel as though they got a good deal, and they did. They ultimately all made a lot of money. Those properties are worth millions of dollars now. Had you kept them long term, but at the time I didn't have that focus of long term. I just wanted that quick turnaround. And so my most profitable month, I sold 6 of those assignments that I had under contract under my own name, and it was over $600,000 of profit. And that really was what sparked the big growth. I took basically 90% of that money and reinvested it back into doing the same thing. And I never had, basically that month happened because of good timing. Everything just sort of lined up instantly. I kept doing them over and over again, but that was the best month for sure in my career. I was super happy with it. It was something I'll never forget, and it's something I want you guys doing as well. So I hope you enjoyed that story. We'll teach you more about assigning and wholesaling, but for now, that's how I made my most profitable month ever.